how it comes out. Oh, it is delayed.
Yes.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, yes, it is. Okay, so this is the webinar.
Hey, we're in test mode here to see how this first webinar is going to go. For those that are on, maybe you could help me. There's a top chat where you can tell me if you can hear okay. Let us know. Yaroslav will be taking care of that. And we're going to start in about 8 minutes.
You can say what we discuss today, because they just sitting and watching you.
Oh, we'll start this all in about 7 minutes, but today I have the IAAPA Benchmark report in front of me, and we're going to find out how many of you have that. I'll go page by page and really go through it and break it down for what family entertainment centers are about in my 50-year experience and what data is important. So I really want to know if you guys can hear me or not. So some of the people who are on, please say yes or plus, or if you want us to turn the volume up or down, I need to know that now. And while you guys are waiting, feel free to type in. Yaroslav Sapko is going to keep track of all the questions, and we'll go through them as we go and then keep track and probably answer all of them later on with other YouTube channels. Okay, we got, if I can see it, looks like we got about 4 or 5 minutes to go. I'm going to find out how many people are on and how much bandwidth we need. This is a whole new experiment for Yaroslav and me. It's also going to be interesting to see how many people come in from all around the world, in different countries. How many are we up to now, Yaroslav? They're starting to click in here. I see it. It's a lot different than teaching foundations where you can stand up and walk around and interact with everybody. Here, the only thing I can do is talk and watch the chats and see what your comments are as we go along. Okay, do any of the people watching now have the IAAPA benchmark report in front of them? I'm going to try to refer to the pages, so for those that do, it'll be pretty simple for you. Each page has some unique things on it. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, Yaroslav is typing out on the top chat here. It's fun to keep track of all this. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, Yaroslav has given me the thumbs up here, so we ready to go? All right. Hey, I want to thank you all for for coming in and watching this first webinar. I want to also thank IAAPA, because any time that somebody goes out and makes the effort to do a survey and gather data, it's always important for our industry to take that data and look at it and basically try to adapt it to all of our businesses. We're all so different. Once you understand that the data applies to your situation, that's great. But I also want to show you why a lot of the data has nothing to do with your specific situation and could actually hurt you, because averages are very deceiving, and I'll go get back into that with a story. But first, let me go through some of the things that are going on. On the top right is a chat, and Yaroslav Sapko is going to keep track of all that and give you different links and answer questions to you. We'll take questions as soon as I get through the charts of this report, and that's probably going to be the most fantastic part of the seminar, at least for me. We'd like you all to go to the red button below the screen and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have over 400 videos there. We'll probably break the 450 mark at the Amusement Expo coming up next week. And you'll get notifications. There'll be different things we'll answer from this chat. So everybody's going to get whatever they need. I want to let you know that IAAPA has not given me permission to put any of the benchmark reports on the screen. So I'll try to refer those by pages as best I can. I'd like to find out from you who are watching how many of you have the IAAPA benchmark report. You can also get it by joining IAAPA for free. You can also pay for it. So I think it's $499, but it's pretty valuable. And let me start off with basically telling you that there's much more detail coming this Sunday at Foundations Entertainment University that we're going to be presenting at the Amusement Expo Sunday and Monday. So if you go to Foundations Entertainment University, Yaroslav will show you how to get into that. There's still seats available, so we'd love to have some of you come there. Okay, let me tell you a story about averages. Most of the stuff in this report is from averages, and I'll tell you a quick story about when I had to do a site visit study down in Brownsville, Texas. Now, Brownsville, Texas is probably 80 square miles. It's a city. And I was going around looking at the different housing values. And I'll remember that because the average housing value was just under $250,000, which is pretty normal for a lot of the country. And I'm driving around, and I see houses that I think are worth $30,000, $40,000, $100,000. I still keep driving, and I don't see a house that's $250,000. And then I came across these areas where they were like millionaires row. I mean, the houses are 800, a million, 2 million, 3 million. So my whole trip, 3 days, I never saw a house that was anywhere near 250,000. I mean, there was probably there was 130 was the top that I saw in the low end, and then there was, million in the other end. So the average of 250 meant nothing since none of it ever existed. So I just want you to remember that story. Now, to start this report, let's take a look at what a family entertainment center is. And by definition, it needs 3 participatory attractions. And they could be anything: climbing walls, trampolines, birthday parties, some type of food. So that requires what they call a definition of a family entertainment center. Now, the people that came into this survey, the methodology of it, not everybody was an IAAPA member, and there could be more than one person responding for more than one facility. So if they have a lot of facilities, that one person can take care of all of those, and they would be tracked. So what happened in this survey? First off, there were 133 FEC responses. Okay, 57% of them, or 71, had multiple locations. Okay, 13% had 10 or more. So some of the big boys responded to this survey. The funny thing that I saw about it is 52%, just over half, surveyed said they had redemption games. Now, for I don't know how many people out there, you may want to tell me in the chats how many of you are indoor, and do you have redemption or not? How many are outdoor? So we get an idea of the mix who's listening to the seminar right now. A lot of the ones have both indoor and outdoor attractions, so that weighs heavily. I deal mostly with the smaller and big size family entertainment centers, but not too many indoor-outdoor. We call those the pocket parks, mini amusement parks. So it seems that maybe some of the big amusement parks were going in this survey. Okay, here's where we get on page 11. This is the first part where I want to get back to you, and I'll read parts of it, where 57% only had one location, and then it takes you all the way up to 13% had 10 or more. And there was a lot of water parks in here, amusement parks, etc. One of the most interesting graphs that I found here is on page 12. And this is the one that gives you the size, because everybody wants to know, well, what's the average size of an FEC? Okay, well here, this report shows that 27 FECs out of those 133 that were in the report were 20,000 to 40,000 square feet. Now, that's pretty big for a family entertainment center. 10,000 to 20,000, 26 FECs responded. That was 19%. For me, I mean, with AEM doing this now for, wow, looking at entertainment centers for 30 plus years, I would tell you that the average size is about 15,000 square feet for just a indoor family entertainment center. And that's without outdoor attractions. Okay, a lot of it was seasonal in this report. They went through operating days. Most of the FECs that I deal with are open every day. Occasionally one would close for a holiday. But here it says that a lot of the FECs that responded to this are not open all the time. So maybe they're smaller. Maybe they're closed a couple of days a week. So I don't know. I didn't dig down that far. Okay. Now, here's the part that's really scary. Page 14. FECs have an average of 311,000 visitors in 2018. Okay, what does that really mean? Well, I took the ones that were 50,000 attendance, and I took an average per capita of $12. That could be a little low in some areas, a little high in others, and you multiply it, and that gives you the number of attendees times the per capita gives you revenue. So that would be $600,000, and 23% of the FECs were in that range. Now you jump from 50,000 to 100,000 attendance. I took the mid-range, and I took 100,000 times $12. That's 1.2 million. Okay, that looks more like an average FEC. And of course, now we jump to the 150,000 to 500,000 attendance. And that, my friends, at $15 per cap, because they have outdoor attractions, etc., at 500,000, that gives you $7.5 million of gross. And that was 24% of the respondents. So when you start looking at averages, look at the way that breaks it down. All right, now I want to tell you how we break it down. And this could be very important for most of you in the FEC business, because you're not going to hit 311,000 people coming in a year. If you hit 100,000 in attendance at a $12 per cap, that's 1.2 million. If you hit a $15 per cap in some regions where you can, that's a good number to use. Good for bowling center, good for if you have food and multiple attractions and good game operation. That gives you 1.5 million at 100,000 attendance. But what does 100,000 attendance mean? What kind of market do you have to be in to generate $1.5 million? Well, I broke it down where you can say that out of that 100,000 people, many of them come multiple times. Some of them come more than 3, some come less than 3, some come once because they only come to birthday parties, and maybe you never see them again. There's a million reasons why. They could move out of the area, they could outgrow your facility, or one of your competitors puts in a VIP program and they now go there instead of coming to you. But in essence, 100,000 people could be 33,000 people coming an average of 3 times. Okay, it's actually a little bit less than that, but it'll come out to be pretty close to 30,000 individuals is your database. And just think, we'll get into this again, and we cover it at Foundations, and I write about it, that with 30,000 unique individuals coming 3 times and the rest of them coming once, if you could get each of those individuals to come one more time, just think about the increase in your business. And that's where the whole deal is. It's increasing frequency of visitation. It's getting people to stay a little bit longer and spending more money. So you got to know about time. So even this report helps you because at the lower end, the data is right there for you to look at. Let's go to average per capita. This is on page 16. And this is very interesting too because it shows you that the FECs, 97% had a single ticket cost, and they had an average of $8. Okay, that's pretty low on average, but there are FECs in the country in depressed areas that that would be a very normal per capita. The report is saying that the average is 21.08. Now, I can tell you from studying the big chains like Dave & Buster's over the years, those that have liquor licenses, yeah, they can hit 20, 21. Some of the new boutiques can hit 30 and 40, the bowling centers in the downtown areas of the A cities. But for most FECs, I got to tell you that 12 to 15 is a good number to get a low and a high and be somewhere in between there. And when I use the word per capita, I'm talking about everybody in the building. That's per capita, that's parents, that's everybody in and out. So that even could be a little bit more deceiving. Okay, let's take a look at, it says guests, this is page 17, guests at over 50% of FECs use general admission tickets. Now, I know children's centers have general admission. Most FECs do not. It's pay as you go. And parks, of course, all would have a program for indoor, outdoor, where you would have a one price for a special package. Okay, page 19. This is a little weird for me to see. I want to spend a little bit of time on page 19. It says arcade video games, non-redemption, are the most common attraction offered at FECs. Okay, so we have video games, cranes, merchandisers. Okay, I see them. I see them all over the place, but even in the smaller centers. But I can't believe that redemption has not caught on more than this survey shows. This one shows, laser tag is in close to 40% of the locations, and that is one of the hot attractions, obviously. Trampolines, 26, and yeah, there's about 800 trampoline parks in the United States, and to believe that the survey here that 25% of the respondents have trampolines here. Okay, that's a little bit weighted in different way. Here, 23% of the respondents have bowling, and a lot of the new big centers that are coming up in the country with liquor licenses, great food. Bowling is probably one of the top attractions that are offered. Where do people come from? Well, this survey says that 37% of the visitors come from 0 to 5 miles. Okay, that's believable. I'll have to say that that is a little bit high for what I see for family entertainment centers. It's usually 30 or below from 0 to 5. Here, 6 to 10, they have a 28% of their visitors come from. I find it to be less than half of that for family entertainment centers. And then they go 11 to 25 miles, 19%. And the reason this was 19%, I would basically take that and cut that in half again. This is way too high for FECs, and you can see how the report was balanced the other way because of the big parks where people drive, hundreds of miles to come to spend a day at a major amusement park or a water park. They come and drive for hours to come for a weekend. Now, in that section, only 78% of the people responded. When it came to length of stay, they got this right. 100% of the 133 responded. They know how long people come. And for FECs, it's pretty much 2 to 2.5 hours. Half of them had this, and of course they went all the way up 3 to 4 hours, 5 to 6, 7 to 8. That's for your amusement parks. They had frequency right at 3 times a year per person. That's good for a family entertainment center. For parks, well, some people only go to a park during the summer for a family vacation, big amusement park. Funny thing about this, age brackets. 76% of the people who filled out this study did not know what the age group of their attendees were. That's staggering to me. Okay. We go into financial models. More than half of the FECs reported revenue exceeding 1 million. Okay, that's believable. They had models where 30% did admission, 27% attraction and rides, and then you had food and beverage, 18%, 18% for games. So I just took that admission, the 30%, and I just added 10% to each one of the other sectors for an FEC, and you come up with a financial model of attractions, about 37%, say close to 40%, food and beverage, 30%, games, 30%. Okay, and that adds up to 100%. That's a typical model for a family entertainment center with a few attractions and a good game operation. Okay, there's more charts to use. There's more information, per caps. We can go through all that. Yaroslav says I'm out of time. So I'd like to go into the chat session now, which for me is the best. If somebody has some questions, I'll take them. I'm going to look at the screen and I'm looking. I don't see anybody sending in a question, so I don't know how you're doing this. If you're watching it from your cell phone, maybe it's a little bit tough. Maybe you're driving in a car. I don't really know. I'll wait a couple seconds, and then we'll ask ourselves questions about family entertainment centers. What do you think, Yarrow? Yeah, kind of odd. Here's one. It says, give me, this is from Mike Higgins, give me the stats again by percent for attractions, food, and games. Okay, this is what I call a financial model of a family entertainment center, and it's going to be different based on how many attractions you have and size. But the average, I just gave you one, Mike, for average, and what it really came out to be is, you run a good food operation, it should be, a 25 to a 3% of your revenues. If you have liquor, obviously, it can go up to half a percent, like Dave & Buster's. They're like 52% games, 48% food and beverage. If you're going to have attractions and rides, it depends on how many, but in an average, maybe you have laser tag, bumper cars, whatever, and that's doing maybe 40% of your revenues. And so that leaves 30% for games. That's a good number. Games are your most profitable revenue per square foot up to a certain amount for games. There's different models where If you have more attractions, your games are going to be maybe 20, 25% of your total revenue. That works for an indoor-outdoor park. So the more attractions you have, the more the numbers switch within 5 or 10% either way. So you have your model. If you want to talk more about per caps, Mike, there's just about any facility in the country that I've ever done, and I've worked probably now with more than 1,200 facilities in the last 20, 30 years. And your game revenues, most of the time, fall within $3 and $4 per capita. So that means that, you know, if you're at $15 per cap and you add a nice redemption revenue operation, you can pick up another $3 to $4. Sure, I have places that do $12, $13, $14 per capita in games, but we're talking about benchmarks. I use a benchmark of $200 per week per game, and that is a reasonable benchmark to attain. Most centers, the big centers now, would certainly do $300 and $400 a week or better. Some of the times you see a peak week in the redemption and FEC report where we hit up to $1,800 per week per game. But that's not normal, okay? Most places are not going to hit that. That's like the highest in the world. Let me jump to a couple others here. Joe Labello. Hey, Joe. It says, I just got to know Joe a little bit. What percent of revenue generated the most profit? Admissions, food and beverage, and birthdays. All right, here's where you guys would learn if you came to Foundations or Birthday University. I go over this and I write about it. Joe, basically, food and beverage, most people are going to have a 30% cost of sales on food and beverage. You know, if you're Incredible Pizza and you know what you're doing, and you can save all of your food and use it to reuse it, you know, take all the dough from the pizza and make it into pies and everything for the next day, great. You can cut that 30 down to maybe 20, 25, 26%. But most people, I use 30% cost of sales for food, and that's just the product. Now you have your labor to prepare it. Okay, it's pretty labor intensive. So food is great, but it has a high cost of sales. Birthday parties, same way. I do profit per kid. That's going to be profitable, but pretty much the most profitable that I've ever seen outside of a casino or something that's illegal is games with the redemption games and the cranes and merchandisers. Most profitable per square foot up to a certain square footage. Okay, after that you can add more games, you can add more cranes, you can do whatever you want, pack the games tighter. The only thing that's going to happen is your game revenues will go down. They will not go up. So I hope I answered Joe's question perfectly. Okay, the next one, big airbag. How are these figures holding up over the last 5 years? Stable or constantly changing? Big airbag, I'm assuming that you're looking at the figures for the benchmark study at IAAPA, and the pages tell you whether they're up or down, but it's hard for me to know that. I didn't go through all of the ones from prior years, but I can tell you for our industry, I can say that at least our operations, we've held all through the recession. Most people were off 15 to 30% during that 2008 on period. And then for the last couple of years, things have been increasing. Games are getting better, obviously. Prizes are great. We get phenomenal merchandise suppliers out there they're picking the licensed goods that people want. Hard goods are probably top 10. So people are playing games more. You'll hear from some of the other consultants in the industry that the per capita spending for entertainment outside of home has been decreasing. And yes, that is all true. But our industry is right there because when people decide to leave their homes for 2.5 hours, that's a big commitment. And even if they only do it once a month, and we're a choice. If a family entertainment center can give good food, good service, a good experience, and people want to go local. They don't like to drive very far. In fact, I can give you statistics on that. How far they'll go is really dependent on how long it takes them to get to their job, their workplace every day, and come home. Subconsciously, they're not going to go further than that unless it's a big amusement park, a concert, or a sporting event, or something that is special to them that they only go once or twice a year to. So yeah, our industry is right there. It's probably the third biggest growth industry in the country right now. And don't get excited when I say that because obviously healthcare and pharmaceuticals are giants in the field. And then if you go down to number 3, we're pretty much, way below that. It's almost like Disney's at the top and Universal, and then we go back down to, attendance at the next biggest amusement park is a lot less than the, 25, 30 million that these guys get. But still, we're in good shape. So yeah, I expect that we've been pretty stable and even on the upswing a little bit. The other reason we're on the upswing is money has been available to us. The tax laws have been better for us. There's more confidence in business expanding. I know that my own business, we pretty much did not want to expand from 2008 to maybe 2014, 2015, but after that, we're expanding now at a good rate and picking and choosing the right locations to revenue share and expand and even get into revenue sharing attractions, and it's just a fun time to be in this industry. Okay, next, Epic Air Trampoline Park. Hi. From a revenue perspective, do you think that bowling, go-karts, and laser tag are higher producing once you already have an arcade? Okay, maybe you can add to that, Epic Air, because I'm taking that to mean that you're thinking of adding bowling, so many lanes, indoor go-karts, or outdoor, I don't know what you're talking about, and laser tag. Okay, laser tag, God, that's one of the best attractions that I've seen year after year after year. I mean, I went back to remember the days of Qzar and Photon, and it's developed itself and reinvented itself several times. The arenas got better, the challenges, the technology. Laser tag is what I would call a 2 or 3 to 1 attraction ratio. And by ratio, I'm talking about the revenue it takes in per year versus what it cost to buy the thing and install it. So a typical laser tag, 24 vests, 3,000 square feet, second level, 1,000 square feet, probably run you $150,000. Most locations, FECs, if you market it correctly, you put it in a decent spot so people can see the entrance, and you pay attention to it, can do 300,000. Sometimes that's 2 to 1. It can do 3 to 1. Excellent attraction. Bowling takes up a lot of space, but once you put the lanes in and you spend that $40,000 per lane, and you market it and you set it up so that have not too many lanes or not too little, and you make it part of all your parties, and you have parties that don't include bowling. In other words, you use bowling as an attraction. It's long term. It's going to be there for a long, long, long time, and it is something that, well, they say close to 70 million people bowl at least once a year. That is a lot of people, considering that there's, 330, 40 million people in the United States. That is a major, major attraction. Go-karts, hard for me to say. Indoors, they're pretty expensive, and they're high per capita. They want the carts to go faster. They take up a lot of space. There's other options you can do with it. We've set up places where you do drone racing, for example, during the middle of the night, and the drones have to follow the tracks at different levels, and people can watch. So you can get other revenue from a go-kart. But outdoor go-karts, phenomenal. One of the best attractions. You go to Peter Olson, he's my expert go-to guy on go-karts. People drive 20, 30 miles to come and participate in go-kart, go-kart leagues with slick tracks. There's not that many go-karts outside because towns are tough. The variances are tough. They fight you on noise regulations. It's always a property owner somewhere around that blocks you or whatever, even though it's all bogus. The noise from the go-karts of today is not much more than a screaming kid, from 4 or 5 years old. So that can all be solved, but it's still one of the greatest attractions. Okay. Yaroslav Soko gave you the link for foundations if you want to come. Here's one, Felix Marte. Hey, hi Felix. Looking to expand soon. What attraction could hold stronger in the foreseeable future? Rock wall or ropes course? Boy, Felix, you gave me, the Mutt and Jeff of choices. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of choices, but let's talk about rock walls. I don't know how high you're going to talk about how big a rock wall is, but rock walls can go, 3, 4 stories. They could be a major investment, or let's say an average rock wall. I don't know whether you have 2, 3, 4 bays. There are laws now where you have to have 1 attendant per 2 bays. States are getting clamping down on that. So throughput on a rock wall, typical, is very, very low. But hey, there's a spectator effect for it. I mean, people love to watch people on the rock wall. And even if they don't participate, which, well, many of them will try after they see it, but they're there watching, they're having a good time, they're heckling the people that are climbing, and part of it is an attraction experience. So also the cost of a rock wall is trivial compared to some of the other attractions that you can choose from. Now, ropes course indoor. Okay, ropes courses indoor, great thing because you're using space that is free basically. If you're paying rent, you're up in the air. Ropes Course Inc. is my go-to. They know what they're doing. We've installed many of them. The throughput on them is not high, but it's decent. The cost, okay, it's a typical attraction, maybe cost a little bit more than some other attractions. You need 2 attendants to run it. You have some some things you got to worry about. If somebody has a heart attack up there or a stroke, you got X number of minutes, seconds to get them down. So you practice. Also, you got to decide what's going to go under the rope course. Okay. If you got really, really high ceilings, you can get them up high enough so you can put games underneath them. But I don't like to put games underneath them because people they don't like to be claustrophobic where the games are, but you can put the games around the columns where the people have to stand in the ropes course, and they can't jump down and kick the tops of the games or whatever. You have to worry about kids, doing lots of crazy things with things above them. But there's other attractions that you can put below it that are a lot of fun. Things that don't require high ceilings, such as bumper cars don't need high ceilings. Ninja Warrior courses, some of them, if they're done right, you don't need really high ceilings in certain areas. Mini bowling doesn't need high ceilings. So it really depends, Felix, on where you're putting the ropes course. You're going to put some of the food seating there or where the parents seat. So lots of things to discuss before I can answer that question. Let's see. We have Zach Johnson. What do you think about adding golf simulators to an FEC? Oh boy, I hope there's no manufacturers out there of golf simulators. I've seen them come and go. There's a lot of them out there that have been in FECs. They're pretty expensive. They're coming out because the revenue doesn't hold up. Depends what you're going to use it for. Tough question, Zach. I'll tell you my experience. I designed and was on the project. It was a Callaway project, and it was multiple millions of dollars to create golf courses like Pebble Beach and have pros come in and really get this course to be accurate. And the idea behind it was to show that at the time, Callaway wanted to put these simulators into each of their stores to sell more of their golf clubs, obviously. Well, us as engineers, we're engineers. We're going to design it the best way it can be. And what ended up happening is, a good golfer is going to do just as well with any type of club, even some of the older type clubs. So it turned out that, the clubs that Callaway made were damn good, but the big, you didn't see that huge a difference over a competitor's club or a club from a, previous generation. So that wasn't such a good idea. The other problem with golf simulators is a lot of them, if you're not going to use them to teach and charge, $50, $60 an hour for someone to analyze their swing and learn, people are going to learn that you can hit the ball maybe a quarter inch off the ground as far as you can to hit the screen. It'll get a lot more distance that way. And of course, people are competitive. They're going to do it that way. And then I'm told that they go back out on the golf course and their game suffers because they're not hitting it a quarter of an inch off the ground anymore like I do. That's the way I play golf. Or whatever. I don't want to talk about that. Okay. Let me see if I missed anybody here. Oh, we got Brian Smith. Hey, Brian. It says, what do you like in VR? Compare virtual rabbits to Holligate. That's a good question. Well, let's start with virtual rabbits. I have several of them. I had the original prototype of virtual rabbits, and this thing is tremendous. I mean, it's a game, yeah, it costs $50,000, but, does a few $1,000s a week. We've hit records with it, but for a typical FEC, maybe it can do, 1,000, 1,500, sometimes 2,000. No attendant. Doesn't take up much space. I mean, I count it actually as a video game. It has no cost of sales to speak of. And I was very impressed that LAI, I think it was Ubisoft, if I don't want to make a mistake like that, but they have 3 new games coming out for 2019, And in talking to them, the price is going to be very reasonable. The 3 games they have now are very good, so I think our revenues are going to go back up again if they slid a little bit, but that could be a long term. So that to me is one of the best video games on the planet. Now you want me to compare it to specifically to Holligate. Well, Holligate has done very well. Creative Work should be congratulated for the phenomenal marketing that they've done in the United States, especially, well, even maybe North America. Comes out of Germany, and they've fixed it up. They've marketed it. They're a sponsor of foundations, or they were. Anyway, they have done a nice job. There's a lot of them out there, 100 plus. I've seen the revenues, 2,000 a week, $100,000 gross, costs about 100,000. That's a 1-to-1 ratio. Takes up what, 300 to 400 square feet. Very, very reasonable. One attendant can pretty much handle the 4 players in and out. Maybe that's not a lot of throughput, but decent. So any benchmark that you can get your gross revenue out in 1 year, and that's what the cost is, not bad. So I would say that's good. Good job. Good choice. Let me see if I answered that very good. It says, what do you like in VR? Okay, that's a loaded question, Brian, because there's so many companies in VR. Most of them will hit that $100,000 mark. Some will go a little bit higher. I think that as we get better and better at it, the headsets or the new technologies, there's things out there now where we may not even need cables. You can just walk or sit and do well with it. But until we get 4,000 a week out of a 400 square foot, $100,000 investment, that's when traction really will take place in our industry, and it'll go viral. Add that to esports, where Virtuex, who is our now virtual reality foundation's elite sponsor, add esports to the competition, and now more and more people get interested in competing with each other and watching. So esports is probably the largest thing that's come in a long time for either our industry to be part of it, or the big cartels like the NBA and the the NFL. And the basketball owners, they have stadiums they have to pack when there's no games. Perfect venue. And I think they're going to invest millions and millions and millions of dollars into esports. And I think that you will see a lot of that where the family entertainment centers may be able to play a practicing role or a small part of that, which is what we usually do. But that's enough, and it's good. Yuri Putin. Hope I said your name right. Frank, what do you think about VR escape rooms? Wow, Yuri. I've looked into some of them, some of the new technologies, but I've actually never been myself into a VR escape room.
In Prague.
Well, Yaroslav is telling me that that's like what I saw in Torch VR in Prague. But I took the question to be wrong, because that was an adventure where a whole team is being brought from quest to quest to quest. And I really didn't think of it as I was getting out of a room. I was getting out of a universe or whatever. It was more interesting to me. And if that's what you meant by that, I would say that that's a great future. I mean, for me, I'm 69 years old, and I was sitting in a chair, and I was able to learn as probably the worst team member on the team. Of course, I had Yaroslav as part of my team, and they were all looking out for me. But I was able to fly with my hands. There was no controller. I loved it. I did not get dizzy at all. I was in there for well over an hour. I would have played all day. I had a great time. Everybody was helping me. The team, you couldn't go anywhere unless the whole team got to the next challenge. And of course, I was always the last one. What I also liked about it was watching the dynamics that sometimes the grandmother with a family who had never played a video game in her life was actually the general leading all of her children and husband and grandchildren through the adventures and organizing them in a strategy. So this was great to watch, and that is probably going to be part of the future of VR. Mark Van Roo. Are you Rouge Movies? Okay. What advice can you give to the FECs with indoor and outdoor areas, activities that are not exactly linked to each other? Not sure what you mean by that. Maybe you want to, write that in again, because that's not what I do. I think that everything needs to be in a package. And you can give great value. People don't have to do all of the attractions during one visit, since they're only going to be there maybe for 2.5 hours, 3 at the most if you're a real good indoor-outdoor park, small. I don't understand why they wouldn't be linked. That's like having different operators or different tenants, with each one vying for the person's money, and but nobody giving anybody a deal. I believe in value packages like we do for birthday parties. Everybody knows how to do a value package for a birthday party or for a big group, but I don't know why we don't do it for individuals, for couples, for families, for friends. I mean, everybody wants a deal, and everybody would want to go to your center if they were getting, say, 50% more perceived value in what they were getting for what they were paying, and you would just increase your frequency. So, Mark, I hope that I answered that correctly. Okay, John Schaefer. Spoke to John recently this week. What would you charge a food truck to set up percent of their gross, or a flat rate, or all of the above? This is an outdoor special events center, weddings, etc. Okay, good question, John. I'm assuming you don't have food and beverage in your event center, so you would want to have a food truck or a tenant that does the food, and encourage them to also want to offer maybe packages and discounts for individual packages, different times a day or different weeks, whatever. And in order for you to get them to do that, it's going to be tough. If they're a tenant and they're paying just a rental, if you're asking them for a percentage as part of that, then now you have access to all of their financials, and I would think that you probably would want that, but maybe there's some way that you can get them into the discounting package where they would sell food below their normal retail price in order to attract more people to the facility, and per capita wise, overall, they'd make a lot more money. So that takes a little bit more creativity. Mark Van Roo is back from the movies. The outdoor play area is not linked with the play area indoor. There's a restaurant in between. Okay, getting a little more complicated here. We have an outdoor play area, and it's separated maybe by ownership, maybe, Mark, and it's on one side of a restaurant or another. Um, okay, um, if you're not going to have a package, what makes the customer want to go to one of the areas or the other area and pay that price? And is that going to take up all their time? I don't know what the time and the throughput is. I don't know what the pricing differential is. Is there a bounce back coupon maybe that the restaurant would offer that if you do one and you don't get to do the other, they get a discount if you come back, because then if they come back, then they're going to spend the same amount of per cap in the restaurant. If you can get them to bring another person, then all the better. That's what's called a VIP double and triple tier marketing program. What do you say, Yaroslav? I don't see any more questions here. So we're now pushing an hour, which is all we signed up for here. So I hope I gave you enough benchmarks. I was going to go through that whole profit and loss sheet, but I have that on my blog, and people that go to Birthday University, I do it at Foundations. It's very interesting to see the big picture of the model that you fall into. And I'd love to spend more time with you guys. Possibly another webinar. Maybe you can chat back and let us know what subjects you think would be better. I want to thank IAAPA again for doing this survey. I know it cost a lot of time and a lot of effort. My only suggestion would be we need to separate the indoor family entertainment centers from the ones that have both and amusement parks, so we get a better reading of averages. They're closer in. There's not that much difference when you say average between the low and the high on both sides. Median is usually what I use in the demographic studies, but then again, that just tells you that half the people are above it and half are below it. So it's a better indicator, but still, average is average. So I hope in this seminar, I can go back to page 1 and tell you basically that data is good. You need to know how to interpret it and what it means just for you. You need to ask a lot of questions when you see a number or read one in the magazines, or you see a competitor tells you. I'm like a crazy nerdy engineer. You say something to me and I'm already thinking of 20, 30 questions that I need to ask in order for me to validate that number, whatever that number is. That's one of the downfalls of being an engineer. So I thank you all. I think Yaroslav, you wanted me to make sure that you gave them all the links to the daily news. I write a daily news report on the industry and make comments every day, 52 weeks a year, and we certainly have enough in the industry to keep on top of that. I enjoy doing it. It's the first thing I do in the morning with coffee, and it's just one of those blessings. So I hope to see a lot of you at the Amusement Expo. It's one of the few trade shows that I go to during the year. I love Bowl Expo. I love IAAPA, of course. I can't even keep up with IAAPA. I only see maybe 25, 30% of the whole show, and I wish it would go on for another week, or I wish I could live there. There's so much to learn. I'll be at the Tuesday seminars. I'll be doing a seminar at the Laser Tag Convention going over the P&L sheet, the big picture, and showing you 10 tips of how to make more money in any family entertainment center and go through the marketing programs. So that's a quick seminar. I'm going to be attending most of the Tuesday seminars that AMOA and AAMA put on. Those are fantastic. I want to see Bob Cooney's seminars on VR and keep up with that. And then, of course, the Amusement Expo is never long enough, but it's the one show of the year where you can get to visit all of the exhibitors, talk to the owners, which you can never really do at IAAPA. Everybody's busy, I know, because we try to do the YouTube videos and we have to come back 7, 8, 9, 10 times to catch a lull in between the how busy those booths are with 30, 35,000 people at the show. Other shows, help me out. Where else do we go during the year? EAG, we did a foundations program over in the UK. We've been to Dubai. I guess that pretty much, hope I didn't leave anybody out. But trade shows are great, conferences are great. Huh?
Interfun.
Oh, Interfun. Yeah, Interfun is a new one that is going to happen in Leeds in a couple of weeks. And I won't be able to get to that one, but I will certainly try to get there next year. So those are really critical ones. So thank you, everybody. Oh, wait, we have another one real quick. Maria Cornelis. Hi, Frank. What would you think of drift karting as an alternative to indoor karting? Maria, you're probably going to shoot me, but I don't know what drift karting is.
It's slick track.
Yaroslav is saying that's another word for slick track. Okay. Well, I've seen probably the first slick track that was ever made in North America, and that was at Sugar Grove. We've taken our foundations classes to it. Peter Olson designed it many, many years ago, and I got to tell you, people come to that to be in leagues. They actually compete in leagues on this track. And the people at Foundations, they loved it. We had one person on the track, my partner Jerry Marola of Amusement Entertainment Management. He was probably, he spun out more times than I've ever seen anybody spin out on a slick track. But when he got the hang of it, he's pretty aggressive and pretty dangerous. But, when I try things like that, I try it a little bit slower. I actually raced Peter Olson in a go-kart race years ago. And I think the people there let my car go a little faster in the beginning, and I got out ahead of him. And all I did was cut him off for the rest of the race. And he was so ticked off about that. But I have to tell you, Peter, it was rigged. You can probably beat me any time of the day. And so my hat's off to you. All right, that just about winds up the seminar. I enjoyed it. Now I can go have lunch and do some more work and get the daily news out. So hope to see you at Foundations, and have safe trip, safe travels. And let's all get out to the Amusement Expo. It's one of those great shows. Thank you.